Popular culture tends to simplify men and claim that they really only want two things: food and sex. But the truth is actually much deeper than that. Men crave respect, especially from the woman in their life. So I really want to break down what respect is, because we all know what blatant disrespect looks like. But there are different levels to disrespect, and I have noticed in my life many examples of times when I have disrespected my husband, and other times when I've observed other women disrespecting a man that they admired. So we really want to, first off, talk about why men crave respect to begin with. And the reason is men want to feel like the hero. A lot of us women crave to be the queen in a man's eyes. We want him to love us, adore us, admire us, right? We want to make sure that he doesn't forget our birthday or an anniversary or something that's special to us. In terms of men, they truly desire to be the hero. And we see this time and time again in movies. When you think of like Superman, Spider-Man, it's always that this hero figure comes to the rescue to help the world, to help a woman escape from an abusive situation, or to help the planet in some way. And that is a very core drive and desire of most men. Of course, we're talking about healthy men. We're not talking about boys. We're talking about men who have actually earned their manhood identity from other men, okay? So men do not become men because they turn 18. Men become men when they have proven themselves, when they have discovered their purpose, when they have secured a stable and strong foundation, when they are confident within. I have a whole nother video idea where I'm going to talk about the difference between men versus boys, but that's kind of out of the scope of this video. We're talking about men here, okay? So this is healthy, masculine gentlemen. These men want to be the hero. Okay, now what does that look like? That looks like you counting on them, okay? Actually giving them the benefit of the doubt and knowing that they are capable. So many women miss this mark, and you see it in movies, you see it in shows, you see it on social media even, when a woman's like, he doesn't know how to do anything. Maybe he can put together a bowl of cereal, but that's about it. That is disrespect. Men are capable. They are capable of a lot more than you give them credit for. I know this firsthand, okay? Growing up, my father was able to do so many things. He was able to fix phones, fix computers. He was able to, change the oil in our car, figure out if a used car was working properly or not. He was able to fix things around the house. Men are very capable, especially when we recognize them as such. Okay, when you speak life into a man, when you look at him and act as if he knows, as if he's capable, you are giving him the fuel, you are giving him the energy to want to provide, to want to serve you, to want to fix things and be the hero in your life. Okay, so respect is very important because men want to know that you look at them and you are like, this guy is able to fix things. He's able to do things. He knows how to get around. I trust him. And men truly do need to be trusted. When a man is trusted, he feels empowered to actually do the things that men are supposed to do. So instead of belittling your man, instead of questioning your man, instead of having this uncertainty around your man, speak that life into him. Give him that fuel that is going to help him thrive, that is going to help him be confident, that is going to help him move in his day-to-day life with just a flare of strength, with a flare of conviction. Most of the times when I'm feeling doubtful, my husband is the one pouring into me. But every now and then, I sense this little ounce of doubt in him. You know, maybe it has to do with work. Maybe it has to do with, you know, being uncertain of how a situation is going to play out. And in those moments, I make it clear that I trust him, that I know he is capable, that I know that he has the tools, the resources to get the job done. I'm not going to feed into his doubt, into his fear, into his insecurity. That is what makes a good wife, is a woman who is able to look at a man and to see his potential. Even if that potential isn't fully realized, she knows that with her love, with her nurturing, with her care, he will be able to blossom into that king, into that hero. So sometimes you see men, and when they are coupled with a certain woman, they aren't getting anything done. They're lazy, they're couch potatoes, they are, you know, so lost, they're playing the victim, and then all of a sudden they date another woman and they're on it. They start a business, they have a career, they're driven, they're helping out around the house, they're getting projects done. And when I see these situations play out, a lot of the time I know the difference is the woman. It's the same man, it's the same material, it's the same starting substance. However, that woman was able to bring out the hero effect in this man. She was able to call out the king that resides inside of him. So I really want us to make sure that we are bringing out the king, the hero qualities in our men, okay? And we do that by trusting him. We do that by, in those moments of doubt, in those moments of confusion, in those moments of uncertainty, speaking life into him. I know you're going to succeed at this, my love. I know that this opportunity is going to work out for you. I know that wherever you end up in this role, you are going to thrive at it. Those words of affirmation go a long way for a guy, and they love it. They love it. They thrive off of that energy. On top of those moments of, let's say, weakness, right? We're all weak at times. That's completely natural. We can also show respect by honoring our man and what he does for us. So it can be as simple as, maybe your husband does not provide in this moment. That is the case for a lot of women, okay? But maybe he takes out the trash. Maybe he grills steaks on the weekends. Maybe he fixes your window or fixes things around the house. That is the actions that you want to focus on, that you want to reward, that you want to honor, okay? So instead of being like, you don't help me with this, you don't help me with this, you're not able to do this, focus on what he is doing right. Focus on what he is being the hero at. And the minute your man hears you honor him and thank him and appreciate him, he is going to want to take on more of that duty. He is going to want to make you proud and to feel even more like your hero. This is something that I've realized, is that my husband will do something very small for me, right? Let's say in terms of YouTube. I mean, I don't want to say he does something small for me. He does huge things for me. But I just want to give this example, as he did something for me and then it blossomed into something much bigger. right? So, for example, when I got into YouTube, he purchased a camera for me. He purchased a little light setup for me. And after a while, I realized that, you know, I could maybe upgrade my tripod. I could maybe upgrade my lighting. And so, as much as I thanked him and I would be so appreciative of what he did, like, my husband got me the best camera out there. My husband, you know, got me all set up and squared away so I'm able to focus on my passions. The minute I would bring up an issue to him, like, oh, you know, I noticed that this person on YouTube has this kind of setup, or, you know, I noticed that when I was uploading videos, I was running out of storage and now my computer's slow. And guess what he did? He got me a memory card for extra storage. He got me things that helped me improve my setup. He stepped into that hero role immediately because I had already given him the gratitude, the appreciation for the initial things that he had done. So by giving him thanks and by showing appreciation and gratitude, I added to that bucket of appreciation. I added to that jar of love, and now he's able to pour into me because of it. He wants to pour into me because of it. When he purchases something for me, I don't go around and saying, oh yeah, you know, this is something that I got for Christmas. I gladly say, my husband got this for me. My husband surprised me with this. My husband gifted me this. And when I look over at him and I see his expression, there is an expression of true pride, of true, like, I will literally get emotional thinking about this because he has this look on his face like, I'm doing my duty. I'm making my wife proud. I'm making her happy. I'm making her so happy that she wants to share with others, that she is proud of what I've given her, of what I've bought for her, of what I've invested in her. So it does not need to be huge, extravagant things. When we first met and he would get me a little chocolate, I would be like, oh, yay, now I can fulfill my craving. Now I can have a little snack with my movie night. Having appreciation and gratitude for those small things helps him step into his king role, step into his hero role. Most men are going to need baby steps to get to that hero role. And I'm sure you've heard that most men who kind of get it, they've been there. They've had a wife. They've had a long-term girlfriend. She kind of got him on track. And that is because a good woman, her energy, her encouragement and gratitude shows on a man. It lights up a man. It activates his potential. And that is just the most magical thing about true love, about love when respect is at the core, when respect is at the center. People look at my husband now and they're like, you are so lucky. And I thoroughly agree that I am so lucky and that God gifted me just an angel as a husband. And I also recognize that he is who he is, part of that because of me, because I activated certain parts of him, certain personas in him that were dormant. Other women perhaps were not able to tap into that. I've talked about this before. My husband, when he was with his ex-girlfriends, we don't really get into those details, but I mean, at the basic, I know that he paid their bills, right? He paid for the apartment. But he didn't do, probably I would say like 75% of the things that he does for me in going out of his way and going the extra mile and not just caring about me but my family and not just caring about the things that we share like our home but things that I only individually care about. So once again, a man can have the potential to be a hero, to be a king, and certain women are going to activate certain levels of that, certain percentages of that. And it really is on us as women to uplift our men, to empower our men. Yes, of course, we need to be poured into. This isn't something that we just do for boys or for any guy. This is something that we do for that divine masculine man that we know is worthy, that we know has the building blocks, has the substance for that end result. And so now I want to talk about a few of the ways in which men react when they are disrespected. Okay, one of the easiest examples that comes to mind is like a fight at the bar or something. When a man is disrespected at a bar, or let's say someone disrespects you, he may become protective. He may become even aggressive. He may become even violent. So disrespect can trigger a predatory reaction from a man, even if he's healthy, okay? Disrespect can also trigger passivity or just retreating. I know that this is a big thing with my husband. He's not very, passionate when it comes to being angry. He doesn't yell, he doesn't shout, he's never cussed, like he's an angel, right? But what he did do, and what he still, he still does, is he retreats a little bit. So he gets more quiet, he kind of gets in his shell, and I can tell that something's off immediately. And I know that he's feeling disrespected, okay? So that is another response that some men will have. And the third, when it has to do with a woman disrespecting constantly, over time, over years, a lot of men will walk out on them. They might not necessarily, get the divorce papers ready, but they might have an affair. And a lot of times the source of the affair is, this woman disrespects me. She belittles me. She treats me like shit. She treats me like a punching bag. She gives me no credit. She gives me no love. She gives me no warmth. I come into the house, there is no sense of comfort, of love, of care. And that is disrespect. For a man to come home after a long day working, with that hope of being just embraced and loved on by his wife, and instead getting like a cold stone, of course he's going to be feeling disrespected, right? So we see men, and this is kind of what made me think of the title of this video, who will stay in sexless marriages. There are a lot of men out there who have not had sex with their wives in weeks, months, some of them even years. However, when it comes to being disrespected, most men will leave. Okay, so this shows you how primal, how innate this need is, this desire is for respect. Sometimes that desire, that need is even stronger than their need for sex. And you will see this with men. I actually personally know a woman, one of my mom's friends, who was married for, 20, 30 plus years, and her husband just totally lost attraction, unfortunately, and they didn't have sex for years. And he was completely okay with it. He was actually willing to stay with her for the rest of their lives. And she was the one who was like, no, this isn't working out. We need to separate. We need to divorce. We need to, clearly just move on separately, because it's not right to just be in a marriage where we don't have passion, where we don't have love, where we don't have that deeper emotion towards one another. We might as well just be roommates. And so hearing her story just shocked me, because it completely twisted what you would think of for most men. Everyone thinks men are just dogs. Men need, sex all the time. But you would be surprised. Some men, it's actually not their top priority. It's actually not their first need. And respect comes before that. So this guy in question was willing to put off his sexual needs to keep his commitment, to stay true to the vows that he had told his wife 20, 30 years prior. And so that was very interesting to me, and it made me wonder that maybe we have got it all wrong. Maybe we have been trying to please men in all of these sexual and erotic and sensual ways, which, don't get me wrong, men need that too, but we've been neglecting the respect piece, and that is huge. So for the end of this video, I want to talk about a few instances in which I disrespected my husband, in which I've seen disrespect happening, and why it was disrespectful, even if it might not be blatant disrespect. Okay, so when I was dating my now husband, I was big in the investing world, the trading world. I still am an investor. I no longer day trade, but at the time I was getting into day trading and all sorts of, you know, predominantly masculine activities, right? And so due to that, I was following a lot of traders on my social media. These were day traders, option traders, swing traders, some women, but a lot were men. And I remember, you know, seeing their reels or watching their videos and being like, wow, this guy made like 100,000 today, or this guy is up 4 million in his portfolio this month, or this year. I'm sure there are some who are up that much per month, but it was very inspiring to me. And it was something that, you know, it motivated me. It showed me that anything was possible. And not only that, these men were really young. They're in their 20s. Some of them didn't even graduate college. And to be able to perform at that high of a level and to achieve success, you know, consistently for many years, it was inspiring to me. And I remember that I would mention this to my husband, like, oh my God, so-and-so, because he knew these guys that I would follow. So-and-so made, you know, X amount of money today. And he'd be like, oh, cool. That doesn't matter to us, you know? Or I would be like, oh, this guy that I follow, he owns like 100 Bitcoin. Isn't that amazing? Like, that's impressive. And he'd be like, we don't care what other people do. And so first, I'd be like, what is wrong with him? Like, why isn't he getting inspired or activated by witnessing this success? And that is an inherent difference between my husband and I. Like, I am very much someone who likes to learn from other successful people, not just when it comes to traders, but like, I love reading autobiographies and memoirs of people who have achieved at a high level. You know, it doesn't even need to be financially, but like Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, you know, different people who have just really nailed it, who have really accomplished something. And my husband, on the other hand, just finds that completely pointless, because in his eyes, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone needs to just make mistakes and focus on their own path, which I totally respect and I honor that. And it's very attractive to me because he's never looking around or comparing himself to anyone. He's really just focused on his own results, right? So after analyzing this, I was like, you know what? I have disrespected my husband, because in that moment, while I am recognizing this guy's greatness, this trader's results, this guy's success, in a way, I'm undermining his results. I'm undermining his achievements. I'm neglecting how much he has achieved and done and been able to provide for us, right? Because I'm not sitting here telling him, oh my God, honey, look at all you've done for us. I'm sitting and telling him, look at how much that guy has done over there, right? So he has never sat me down and said, hey, you disrespected me, that was wrong. But I just, from my own analysis, I'm like 99% sure that that's what it is. Because if it was his coworker telling him about some traders, he'd probably have a different response than his wife, who, like we've mentioned, he wants to be my hero, he wants to be my king, he wants me to be in awe at his achievements, his results, his success, okay? So that was kind of an example that I thought of that I think that's helpful because it's not blatant disrespect, but at the core of it, it does tinker with a man's confidence, I believe. The other thing was one of my friends, you'll never know who I'm talking about, and unless it's about my husband and I, then I'm usually quite open. But one of my friends, she's single, and we had all gone like on a dinner. I don't want to give too much details, but anyways, there was a dinner and there were some potential bachelors, okay, that could be suitable for my friend. Okay, and we don't know these men very well, okay? It was kind of like a work setting, but it was someone who we would see like once or twice a year. So this guy was talking about his life, his family. He's divorced. He has, I don't remember now how many kids, but he was mentioning details about his life, like where he lives, and he has a boat, and he has 3 kids, I don't remember now. And once again, he's giving us details like their age, their name, you know, their gender, all these things, right? And so I picked up on a few of these details. And so he was showing interest towards my friend. And so later that night, my friend and I were chatting. I mentioned something about his kids. I don't remember what it was. And she goes, "You actually remembered their name?" And I go, "Well, yeah, it was like 2 hours ago." And she goes, "I don't even remember." And then later, she was bringing up a conversation she had had with him privately. And he mentioned something about his kids, right? I know this story has a lot of holes, but basically, he mentioned something about his kids, and she goes, "Oh, you had a daughter? I thought you had sons," or something along those lines that showed that she wasn't paying attention at all, okay? He's talking about something near and dear to his heart, his own children. And if you're a woman and you plan on dating a man who's divorced, has kids, you better pay attention when he talks about his kids, because if you really do end up with this guy, you are going to be taking on that stepmommy role, and you need to realize how important that is and vital that is. Like, that would definitely be a reason that a man doesn't choose you, is if you're showing no interest towards his children. So when she had mentioned to him like, "Oh, I didn't know you had a daughter," or whatever, messing up their ages or their gender or something like that, he was pretty appalled by it. So obviously he did not blatantly say he felt disrespected, but when she was rehashing this conversation with me, it was clear to me that he felt disrespected, as he should, right? If someone who you care about, who you admire, who you might have a potential with for the future, is talking about something important to them, and you are not listening, you are not keeping track, you are not, interested in that, that is disrespect. That is a clear sign of disrespect. How many of us have been at a party or been at a dinner and been trying to really connect with someone, and they just take out their phone, or they're distracted, or they're, daydreaming, and it feels disrespectful? You want someone to respect your time, your energy, your words, to actually have a want to get to know you, to get to know those details about you. And the person who truly loves you and respects you will do that. They are going to want to know all about it. They are going to want to know about your children. They're going to remember the facts. The last example of disrespect I wanted to talk about is one of my friends, again, okay? She is dating this guy right now. It's not official yet. It's just in the dating phase. It's just in the talking phase. He lives out of state, so they don't see each other very often, maybe once a month, once every few months, okay? And because they don't live in the same city, in the same state, she has had a really hard time understanding what he does for work, because he works doing government contracts, and those can be very complex, very convoluted. So he has explained it to her multiple times, but because she is not in that field, she doesn't understand that industry, it's a little bit like weird. Like, it's a job she's never heard of. It's contracts that she's not familiar with, right? So there is a huge learning curve when it comes to what he does for work, and he will explain something and she's just kind of in disbelief. And that's the problem, is instead of saying, oh, I don't really understand that, like, tell me more about it or explain it to me, she came off feeling like, is he being dishonest? Is this really what you do? She told him along the lines of, this sounds sketchy. And he felt very disrespected. He actually like lashed out and, you know, in a way was like, just because you don't know someone who does this kind of work doesn't mean that what I'm doing is sketchy. Like, this is my livelihood. This is how I make money. This is how I'm able to take you out on X, Y, and Z. So he felt very offended. And when she was telling me about this, I kind of was like, yeah, duh. Because imagine that I met a man and I told him, oh yeah, I have a tutoring business and I'm a dating coach and I invest in the stock market, whatever. And he told me, that's sketchy. Like, I don't know anyone who does that. That's not only rude, but it is disrespectful, because it shows that he's not taking my word. He's not trusting that what I say is true. And at this point, I haven't given him any reason to distrust me, right? It's different if I've lied before and now he's having a hard time believing me, but it's like, this person's new in your life. If you really don't understand something in their life, something that they're involved with, just ask, be curious. You know, be enthusiastic and show that you want to learn, because that is respectful. The opposite is just being like, that sounds sketchy, that sounds weird, you know, that sounds odd. And that's going to be the number one way for him to just be like, wow, well, this woman doesn't even believe that my work is real, that it's solid, that it's true. So those are the examples that I wanted to give you guys. I want you guys all to know that I'm just sending you all my love. I'm sending you all my healing. And if you've made it this far, also make sure to subscribe, because my analytics show that only 9% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribing. So there are actually 10 times more people who watch but don't subscribe. So that makes me sad, because if everyone who viewed my videos were to subscribe, we'd probably be at like 30,000 subscribers. So make sure to subscribe. I would love to have you here. I'm thankful to have you here, and I want us to have many more discussions. So let me know what you guys think about this topic. I'd also love to get a man's perspective. You know, if you have any thoughts to add, I would love to hear them. And I'm wishing you all a lovely day. Bye.